Hey everyone, Kwame here, and today I want to show you how I edited this picture that you see on your screen just using Lightroom to create something that turned out really cool and something I couldn't do before the latest Lightroom update. So this picture was taken back in 2019 at the Denver Zoo. It was indoors. It was from my Olympus Micro Four Thirds camera, and I had to shoot at ISO 3200 to get these birds to get them still because they're kind of moving around. But this is a really cool picture, and I really haven't done much with it because, to be honest, at the time, the skills that I had and the software, I couldn't get the picture to look like how it was when I was there. However, with Lightroom's new updates to Lightroom Classic, Lightroom CC, and in some part Lightroom Mobile, I'll show you which part here in a second, you can really make this picture pop. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So first of all, let's go in here and edit the picture. All right, so we are zeroed out back to nothing here, and we're going to start from scratch. So the first thing I like to do, as you guys know, is hit auto and see what Lightroom says. Now I kind of like this, and the next thing I'm going to do is come in here, and for this one I use the eyedropper because the great part about like these parrots is they have a true gray, and I'm looking up here at this preview to see what is the starting point that I like for this bird. I'm trying to find like one that looks, because I know that, well, I guess this back wall, we can pick this back wall. That's a pure gray. So I'm getting a great starting point with this. Now, the next thing I want to do is do a slight crop. And so we're going to come down here, and I'm going to do that. So I kind of like this, trying to see. So I like this bird's eye in the middle, and I kind of like this one off in the distance. So yeah, I'm going to keep it there. Let me just see before, after. So I like to go back and forth before and after. This is where you're starting from, and this is where you're at. So you can see, you know, the before and after looks better already. Now, the one thing that the auto settings like to do is add a lot of color saturation and variance, and I don't really want to go that far, but I will add just a little bit of dehaze to kind of bring out the feathers and a little bit of clarity. And what clarity does is like micro contrast on a pixel level, so it kind of just brings out the edges and the contrast and the feathers and, I mean, the overall image. But we're gonna clean that up a little bit here in a second. So I'm gonna just go a little bit. Actually, I'm not gonna, you know what, I'm gonna go back to 0 on this one because I'm gonna show you why here in a second. And then yeah, we're gonna keep it there. Now here's where things get really cool. If you come up here into their new selection mask, you can hit subject. Now, back in 2019 when I did this, I used to have to use a paintbrush and go over all this area and trying to get the subject just in line. Now you can see it's a click of the button, and boom, right away you're getting the subject is isolated. But for this one, I'm going to hit invert because I want to work on the background first. And for me, I like to, in this case, separate the bird from the background. So I'm going to bring down the exposure a little bit. I'm going to bring down the contrast a little bit. And then I'm going to come down here, turn down the clarity. I'm actually going to bring down the exposure just a little bit more. And now you can see if we hit the before and after, again, before and after looks pretty good. Now we're losing a little bit of detail here in the feathers, I noticed when we hit the auto. So I'm going to have to come back and fix that, but we can. So now that I've gotten that done, I'm going to come up here, add a new mask, and I'm going to work on the parrots. And this is where I can tone down some of the highlights and add some clarity just to the birds to help bring some of that detail back, to the bird's feathers. Now, when you do that, it kind of makes everything dark. And so because, again, I'm trying to separate the background from the birds, I'm going to come up here and bring up the exposure just a little bit. I'm going to tone down the shadows and the exposure a little bit more. So again, before, after, before, after. And I think for fun, I'm going to add a little bit of texture. Just a little bit. All right, I like that. Now, what I do want to do is come in here and bring out the eye of this bird, because the eye are the windows to the soul, and the parrot was looking right at me. So we're going to come in here. Oops. Hit another one, and we're going to select brush because it'll be easier here, and we're just going to paint in this selection. And then we have a couple options, right? We can let me see here, custom. So here we can come down here and you have like the iris enhance, and you can see, so if you hit O, it turns on and off the mask. So if you hit O, you can kind of see what it looked like. I wasn't paying attention, so let me see what a before, after. All right, not a, there we go. So before, after. I'm just looking at the eye, and I actually like that, so I'm just going to leave it at that. It brought up the exposure just a little bit, so that's fine by me. The great part with photography, you guys, as long as you're doing it for yourself and it's not like a paid client or something, do whatever makes you feel fine. All right, so this is where we're at. So before and after, it does look pretty good, but if you watched my previous video, you saw a really cool new feature of Lightroom is their denoise option, and that's where we're going to go next. So we're going to come in here and hit denoise, and I already have it at 45%, and it's just going to look at the noise and use AI to help make it look better and to remove it. And so I'm going to do that. Now it says AI, but it's just machine learning. Everything has AI these days. And so it's going to create a new image. Now, the reason why I leave it to the end is because it creates a new image, and I kind of want to be done with all the editing before I hit the denoise. Now, could you do the denoise first and then do your editing? You can, again, do whatever you want. But for me and most photographers, editors are going to tell you, do all your editing and then do the denoise at the end. It just makes a cleaner image. And so I'm doing this in real time. So I'm letting you see up here what the status of that new image is, how long it's taking. And so I'm kind of having to fill. I'm not going to cut this. I'm going to let it run so you can see a real runtime workflow with this new update to Lightroom. And I've said it before, Lightroom does cost, there's the photographer plan, which is $10 a month. You get Lightroom and Photoshop. I think it's worth it because of all these updates. All right, so now we have created the image. It has run its denoise, and you can see it's cleaned up this image amazingly. This is the original, and this is the new one. It looks amazing. So as we see here, it has cleaned up the image, and it looks amazing. The only thing, I know I just said I want to be done, but the only thing I'm going to add, which I don't think adds any effect to the image, is just a slight vignette, because again, my goal is to kind of just bring out the birds from the background. And so adding -12% vignette works for me before and after. Again, just drawing the eye into the birds. And I really do like that. Now you could, if you really wanted to, you could add a mask and like over the eye and like kind of make the vignette go to the eye, but I just want to make it to the birds. By doing this, it kind of separates the birds from the background, which I really like. Now there is a little bit of like a halo effect around here. You can, and you know, if you really want to, you can go in here, clean it up. It doesn't bother me. Like, again, these pictures aren't going to be published in National Geographic. I'm not selling them or anything. These are just for my own personal use and YouTube videos. So for me, this is more than good enough. Really what I wanted to show you is you can now edit your older picture. So if you have an older noisy picture like this one was, you can edit it in Lightroom without having to go out to Topaz Labs, without having to go into Photoshop. Edit it all within Lightroom and get a pretty good image from that original image. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Is this something you're going to use to go back and edit your older pictures? Are you an Adobe Lightroom user? Are you not a user? Like, what are your thoughts on this new workflow from Adobe and all the things that they're adding? I would love to know what you think in the comments down below. As always, if you found this video helpful and you like me, please hit the like and subscribe to this channel. I would love to see you in some of my next videos. Thank you as always for watching these videos, and I will see you in the next one. Talk to you later. Bye bye.